Another Philly production. John versus John.
Cash, trash, cash. Is the idea trash or is cash? Let us know. Yes, maybe so, or for sure, it's a no. Should we stop while we ahead and turn around, or it's a go? Trash or is cash? Go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey, yo, check dig. You're now tuned in to Trash or Cash Podcast, the show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
Let's get started. This is the Trash or Cash Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Centeno. If you've never seen me before, that's who I am. This is my very special guest, Pastor Tommy Urban D. Kyllonen. How many nicknames do you got?
You said it right, bro.
Kyllonen?
Yeah.
I never know. It's kind of like what my
Cologne and then in. Everybody kills it the way it's spelled.
Nice. So I'm glad that I did that right. So if you've never, have you ever seen one of these podcasts before?
I have.
Talk. Okay, you have. So you know what this is about, right?
Yeah, and I see all your clips, man, on IG.
Nice. I know you appreciate the memes, but I didn't know. I don't know if the edutainment stuff or the other stuff kind of saturated. You never know till somebody tells you like this. So it's always good to get a little feedback, even if I got to bribe you with free water and whatnot to get that out of me. But I appreciate you coming here today.
Definitely.
So yeah, for anybody who's kind of checking this out for the first time, this is the Trash or Cash Podcast, and what we do here is a couple of entrepreneurs from Tampa get to sit, talk to each other a little bit, and then kind of Shark Tank a big idea. I guess that's about like Shark Tank between friends. So yeah, what would that be, like an arm wrestling contest of ideas?
Let's go,
bro. I'll do it. After that'll be the outtake. We'll
you
see
don't want none of
that
this.
one. I might not.
This,
I'm kind of weak. I haven't been working out like I need to. So, yeah. So this is about ideas. This is about Tampa entrepreneurship, big ideas, and the Trash or Cash thing is simply is it a trash idea or is it a cash idea? Because I have the trash app, Trashmitter. Mm-hmm. So why not talk about trash, but reframe it in a way where everybody can have fun? Because nobody likes talking about trash. They love talking trash. So I kind of trying to remix it.
That's
trying
right.
to remix it a little bit. Now you appreciate that because you are a musician.
Yes.
Did you ever really DJ or you just?
No, I mean I tried to mess around with it a little bit. I messed around on the turntables, but I never really got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you do know how to cut because you started out cutting hair, so you were halfway
Yeah, I do know how to do those kind of cuts. I could scratch a little bit, but I never really got like the real, like the crab scratches and all that.
Well, we come from a town where that was kind of like the holy grail, right? It was the Jazzy Jeff. It was like the
Jazzy Jeff,
the legendary scratchers.
You had that DJ from the Tough Crew. I was watching him online the other day. Oh man,
and that was a good song. I wonder what happened to them dudes. I don't even know what they're up to anymore.
Yeah.
We could go into hip hop history of Philadelphia here.
Because today's the birthday. We're filming this.
The 50th birthday?
It's the 50th today.
Of hip hop?
It is.
And DJ Roscoe, how come you didn't say nothing about that?
August 11th.
He probably did know about it. He got a party tonight anyway here, so we'll just make it about that. All right, let's get into this. So I like to ask my guests 3 questions, just so that if they don't know who you are, know who you're about. But I'm going to give me like 2-minute elevator speech. You're a pastor in Tampa. You're not an ex-musician. You still make music, but you're formerly a music producer and a rapper. You write books. You do edutainment courses, and you're deep into entrepreneurship. That's why you're here, because not for nothing, but I've never seen a church that goes as deep into the community and raising up entrepreneurs as much as you guys, to the point that you're now raising money for other people's ideas, and maybe one of them will come from here. I don't know, because we have actually had 2 bangers so far that I'm like, I really want to kind of throw money into it. So that's cool. But enough about that. Give somebody who never met you before a quick 2-minute Pastor Tommy Urban D description.
Yeah. So originally I'm from Philly with my guy. So rocking my hat today. But I've been down in Tampa for a minute, over 25 years. So 813 is my home. Almost everybody that's here is from somewhere else. We got a lot of Philadelphians and New Yorkers and people from all over the place. And I married a New Yorican as well.
And her name is?
Lucy.
Like my wife is named Lucy.
That's
and they're both
right.
Puerto Ricans.
We both
another twinning moment.
Yes, and we're both PKs as well. If you don't know what that lingo is, that's pastors' kids. So did grow up in Philly. My dad was a pastor. I tried to run from anything to do with church. I did that for a little minute, but God just wouldn't let me go. When I was 19, kind of got reconnected to my faith and ended up transferring down here to Florida to get away from Philly and some of the bad influences I had, and finished school down here, came to Tampa, started doing youth ministry at the church that I'm at now. I swore I'd never do what my dad did, but I'll do youth pastoring. And at the same time, small church, so they weren't able to really pay me regularly. So I started doing my music. And my music ended up supporting my family. You know, we're doing this, interview when hip hop's turning 50, and I'm grateful for hip hop. It gave me a voice. It gave me a platform. It gave me a way to even provide for my family. And so I've done 9 records, been able to travel around the world. Kid from Philly, never went on a plane until I was 20 years old, bro. My family didn't have money like that. But now I go on planes like multiple times a month generally. And I've been able to go share my story. And so, yeah, I've always had the entrepreneur bug. That's why I'm here today, because my family didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I wanted a pair of Nikes. And my dad said, I ain't buying those for you. You got to figure it out yourself.
Was it Jordans?
So, no, just some plain Nikes. I was 10 years old, man. The $35, like some low-top, deals.
Just not Bobos.
Yep,
basically.
not Bobos, man. The kids were singing the Bobo song for me at school, and I was like, my reputation was trash. And so I had to redeem it. Get some Nikes. So I started my own little lawn service, cutting people's grass and pulling weeds, shoveling snow, raking leaves, just trying to hustle. And so I had that entrepreneurial work ethic in me that I'm grateful for, and I've always had it. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
All right, so here's the 3 questions that I like to, 3 questions I like to ask everybody. Everybody gets a little different version of it. What are you most proud of?
Most proud of that I get to really be authentically me and do what I love to do. And most people don't get to do that. And that also, in doing that, I also add this. I'm really able to impact people. And so it's not just about what I want to do, but I'm helping. I'm in the center of what God's plan is for my life. So I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's why, in terms of places that make you feel really welcome and energized. I want to say that, like, when I go to a service, I come out of there like wanting to do stuff.
Yeah. That's
hard to, especially as a PK, people have been through church.
Yeah,
kind
of numb.
I wandered. I want to say I wandered in the desert for 40 years before I really got real with my faith. And I'm still kind of a broken vessel. I love Jesus, but I cuss a little bit too much and some other things. But the point is,
we're I'm praying for you, bro.
Maybe you need to cast out that spirit. But it is what it is right now. I'm a work in progress. But that
we all are.
That heart that you have, and that it genuinely shines. I think that's why I attracted people. But that inspiration, like it's not Pentecostal, but it is spiritual. What you do there, you might not come out spitting, tongues, but you might come out spitting bars. So that's just as good for the business we're in. So that's what's cool. So, I was gonna ask you, what age did you knew you were meant to be an entrepreneur? It was a sneaker story, or something.
Literally, deeper. yeah. I was about 10 years old, and when I started to make money, and I had my own money, and I had customers, and I had a list, and I was building it up, and I was excited. I opened a bank account, and all through my teenage years, I had literally about 20 different jobs. Yeah.
And when was the transition from the cutting grass to cutting hair?
That was in high school, and literally, I had an old pair of clippers that somebody gave to my dad to cut the dog's hair, and I was practicing on the dog. Cutting the dog's hair so my parents could save money. And then my friend, he was sleeping over, and he wasn't allowed to get a fade. And he's like, yo, my dad won't let me get a fade. Yo, I want a fade. Because I had a fade and I had a line in the side apart. And he was like, yo, man, I want to get one of those. And he's like, yo, just try it. And I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, man, you cut the dog's hair really good. I'm dead serious, bro. And I gave him a fade, put a little part in, and it came out pretty decent. And then all my friends were lining up like, yo, hook me up with a cut too. Then eventually my parents got me like a real pair of clippers that was good, and started cutting in high school, cut through college. That's what got me through college.
Barbers are kind of the ultimate street entrepreneurs. I mean, because they got their ear to the street. Everything passes through there. They set up tapes where they're always hustling something.
Yeah.
Little sidebar, but it's a good thing that you did that back then with some clippers and not now, because people would have been like, hopefully that wasn't used for manscaping somebody. Because I'm like, yo, those better be new, man. I
wasn't even a thing back then. We didn't even know what manscaping was, right?
It might have not worked back then.
Yeah.
It's just suspicious clippers, yo. I need to know the bloodline of these things or where they've been. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, we're gonna wash them in alcohol. We're gonna clean them up for you.
So here, see, that's why these are funny, because we just say whatever, right? But all right, what's your vision for the future? Past, because what you're doing right now, because I just saw the clip and I was like, yo, like the church is destroyed right now. It looks like you knocked the whole inside out. Yeah. And I know what's going there, but like 5 years from now, that's done. And then what's the next, like, what's the vision for that building, or is it bigger than that building? Because I know, not trying to show all your cards, but Flavor Fest is also growing out. So like, I know you got some kind of master plan there. What's that look like vision wise? Yeah,
well, I just had a big birthday recently. I joined you in the club. We ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we won't say which one.
Yeah, 40 Club. And but I'm thinking about legacy, thinking about like, man, I'm not gonna be doing this forever. So how can I really make sure I make the biggest impact? So one thing with Flavor Fest, we're growing that, to take it to different cities, to raise up, urban church leaders, to plant churches that are similar to ours and revitalize churches to be more relevant, give them tools and resources. So that's going to continue to grow. We're working on actually starting like a network of churches. More to come on that. That's still in the shaping process.
Philly's on that list, right?
Oh yeah.
I got the plug on the place now.
Every big city, we definitely want any big influential city, man, that needs to have a church similar to ours that doesn't. So that's one. Then at the church right now, it's a mess because we're building a coffee shop and we're building a second floor, a seating area inside and outside. It's gonna be super dope. It's gonna be open 7 days a week, as it's a place where the community can come together. But the long term, and maybe you haven't heard, you probably haven't heard this because you're newer at the church, but I did talk about this publicly in 2020. We would love to buy the property because we're in a long-term lease right now. We have a sweetheart deal. I mean, we're paying like a third of what the market rate is. So it is great. But we really want to buy the property in God's time in the next few years and then redevelop the property. We're sitting on 5 acres and literally redevelop the property and address affordable housing and put some high rises on the property, and build a new church that's underneath, along with some restaurants, a coffee shop, and literally have several thousand people that live on that space. I'm on the Innovation District Advisory Board, and that is a lot of the plans for Uptown is to build high rises along Fowler, and some of that's starting to happen by the mall, but there's some big plans that they have, and even the property that's next to us that's still kind of abandoned and vacant. So
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, so 5 acres. That's what you're trying to hold. Like the church does the church.
The church is on.
Sit on 5.
It's on 5.5 acres.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
not further out from that.
No, just our blueprint. That's it.
Gotcha.
That land that we're on now. Next to us, the old flea market that's mostly abandoned is sitting on about 30 acres, and they want to turn that into a development that looks like Midtown. So all high rise, like apartments, condos, hotel, office, retail, and a transit center. And
I'm gonna, only because I kind of know him because you introduced me to, is the dude from Rhythm helping kind of with any of that, or that's all kind of your mission?
I mean, we've talked to them about it, and they know about it, and they're excited about it. So they want to see that synergy happen with all these pieces of property. They know that the property that's on the corner next to us of Fowler in Nebraska is kind of like the gateway to Uptown from 275 when you're coming in. So that's a very important property. And then ours is next, and they kind of have it all mapped out, like chunks of the block leading up to the mall and then to USF. So
two things. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. Yeah. I knew some of it. I knew they were trying to get the building because I think that's when right after COVID is when I came to you. So I heard a part of that, and I came to one of the fundraiser things, right? But literally, and it's not for you, it's for the next person, was a version of what you just talked about, a workforce housing situation on the way I would do it. So I think we should definitely connect more on that because I do outside of this is obviously real estate because it's kind of what funds some of this stuff.
Yeah.
but my new passion is like workforce housing specifically,
Yep.
right? And how to mitigate the effects of, what do you call it? Gentrification.
Yep.
Because somebody's got to work all these stores that everybody's taking their
Where's
their
your
kids
service
to. Yeah,
workers going to be able to
exactly.
afford to live at?
I already have a plan and a method, and actually it's being developed here as we speak in
Okay.
this building. But I want to get deeper with you on that because I could tell you some things that probably would add to that would make it financially viable.
Yeah.
That you might not, missing pieces that you
Oh,
might-
yeah.
So definitely. So thank you for sharing. See, look, so that's a cash idea, even though we weren't doing that yet.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into that.
But there's more. I got more. I got
Okay,
more
no,
when I do my pitch officially.
All right, no. Damn. That's all I can say about that. Cool. So this next part, you kind of, you set it off. So trash or cash, obviously. So
Yeah.
this is where we get to pitch each other ideas.
Okay.
That's your vision. But we're going to talk about an idea you might have had that might not fit into the visionary plan, but you're like, man, that would be good. Kind of like we all have our little hobbies, our little side things we want.
It actually goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about, but it's different. So.
No, good. Because a lot of the ideas that I pitch do have something, they're offshoots of what I'm already doing with Trash Mitter. Maybe not all of them will work, but it's kind of like one of those things. It's like you got a lot of crayons in a crayon box. You can't use all the colors, but you can paint with, some of them are going to, 80% of them might work. And if 80% of it, 70% of it works, it's still going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Just might not all fit together. But that's kind of what this is about because the seeds, and you never know who might pick up that ball. That's the thing.
Never know who's watching.
Exactly. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who's going to reach out to you maybe 6 months from now. I heard you. I like that idea. How can I get down? And that is why I like doing this, even though financially it might be a little bit burdensome. It's because the seed you plant, while it might feel expensive, then it's still cheaper than buying the end product and getting in at the end of it because you're buying the seed, not the fruit. Let's just call it that.
You got to invest in yourself.
Exactly,
That's what you're doing.
Exactly. So that's part of my idea, actually. You want me to go first?
Go first, man. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the trash or cash part. I'm going to hit you with an idea. It's not fully formed, but when I thought of it, I was like, I think you'll dig this.
Okay.
Cool. So my idea is called 10 talents. After the 10 talents in the Bible. We all have a different talents, but it's a talent agency for Christian influencers. And what it is you come in and it's like, what do you have and how do we double it? And basically it could be a half mastermind, half talent agency. So, you got people that are, you're always going to have your beginners and you're going to have your pros, but they're scattered all in their own brands. And then you have this middle ground. Paul, Barnabas, Timothy, kind of.
Yep.
Somebody imparting. So set it up like that, and based off this, an agreement. It's like, hey, because Flavor Fest is a perfect example. Imagine if Flavor Fest, you were able to take that, and I said, because you remember I did the beach cleanup, and I was like, businesses, we're doing a community cleanup. And if you have something from your business to contribute, and it might cost you almost nothing, but it's it's promotional material. But to another person, it's like, wow, I love that, right? That's high value to me. Taking these things that are of high value to other people to motivate them to do good works, impact-based stuff, and putting all in this package that they all cross-pollinate and help each other. If you're in that particular network, it could be a membership, whatever. But the commitment is almost like I said, like the 10 talents. We're all here to double our gifts somehow. And some people are just really gifted at networking. That's one of my things, right? And maybe you're an influencer and you get a lot of attention, but you don't know how to monetize that. So there's all these places with blind spots. And the whole purpose of 10 talents is to take all the people that have these gifts and put them together in teams, almost like little subgroups, like you would do in a church. And be like, y'all work together, y'all work together, and then that's one product. Let's say a music sort of channel not channel, subgroup, whatever.
Yeah.
These are the musicians.
Here's the
so
artist.
anybody needs music for their YouTube openers, their podcasts. Here's your crew. What do you bring into the table? Okay, you give me music, I give you this. I introduce you to somebody, I pay you or whatever to just take that and that 10 talents thing and expand from there. And I brought it to you because I'm going to say that you already have all the raw elements, and you probably don't want to organize something that.
But no, you're right though.
But I just thought that's something that somebody needs to do.
But I could delegate it to somebody.
Right.
That's an artist that doesn't already have a million things on their plate.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that some people that we probably know would, if there was if there was a subgroup, a mastermind of like just locally of these people that put their mind to that, that could happen and could be funded. And it's not that it would need that much funding. It's just the mission is this. Are you down? Right? What do you think about, like, first of all, I know it's a good idea. I know it's not a trash idea, but how, because you've been in this industry, you've been in publishing and all these other things.
Yeah.
Do you see that as a viable business plan or start to something that could be really huge and sustain itself and eventually, I don't know if it would go viral, but or not unicorn maybe.
I think it's cash. If here could be the music part of it that could really make cash. Because what's really big right now for artists, we don't make money anymore off of our actual music from sales because most people consume music through streaming.
And same thing with authors,
books. And you get like 0.5 of a penny every time somebody does a stream. So it's so much different than when we were growing up and people were buying CDs and they were paying $15 for a CD and it only cost $1 to make a CD. Like you were making some good profit off of that. So you don't make money off your music in that way anymore. So the way that artists can make money off of their music now is through sync deals and through licensing deals. And so even me, I've made some great money off of some music that's 20 years old, like an instrumental or somebody. And there's a lot of licensing companies out there online that you can upload your stuff to for free. And then they just shop it and they split the money with you 50-50. But they sell it to a video game for $1,000 license and you just made $500. They sell it to a commercial, you could make $10,000 off of that. So there can be some great money in that, but especially if you have a connect, if you have a plug. Sometimes there's people that are the kind of the curators for the bigger people that are shopping. And if you can get in with one of those people and they could see this idea and this young group of artists that are making music, hey, we need a hip hop instrumental that has some congas in it, that has a little bit of a Latin sound. Can you make that for us? Boom, boom, boom. And they make it custom. These producers can make it custom, or they take stuff that they already have created that might fit into, we're looking for, a pop sound. We're looking for an EDM sound. We're looking for a hip hop like golden era track, with the boom bap from the early 90s, and we can make that, or we already have it. And off of some of those tracks, it gets picked to be on Sports Center or something like that. You can make thousands of dollars off of one track, and that's way more than an artist can make off of making a song and, getting a few pennies off streaming. So
cash in the right hands.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off that, there was another idea that we brought to the table having to do with music that would dovetail nicely because it was basically a pay-per-use situation where, for example, if you love a song and you're like, I just want to use it for my video, I'm an influencer. And you know how like they normally, you can grab any song for 15 seconds and then they're like, you need copyright. Well, it's like, hey, you get it as long as you want, and you're just paying. Like if your YouTube video goes viral, you're just paying more. If it doesn't, you're just paying less, and it's just basically on-demand licensing for whatever you need. Because a friend of mine gave me this idea, and it's like we try to track down these artists, and it's like we need to produce this in 3 days. It takes us 3 weeks to get to the right person, and by then the time has passed, and we're just not going to pay for it. We're just going to do a bootleg, goofy version of it that sounds like it, but it doesn't have the same impact. So that kind of thought process behind it could still make that work and everybody wins.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there is a lot of boutique websites out there. I'm signed up with some of them where they can put your stuff and you can get like a mini license for it where it's not exclusive, obviously, but you could like for $20 you could use that song
specific
for a video
use kind of thing, right?
But and you're like, well, it's only $20. Well, some of these websites have so much traffic on it. There's some people that will get their songs when they're popular and they're on this list, because a lot of these websites have small lists. Like, man, that thing got 500 buys this month. So 500 times 20 is 10 grand.
Well, if you got a person, let me know. We can start putting this together. We'll show up at the next what do you call it? The Entrepreneur Summit,
Innovation Summit.
Innovation Summit. All right, I need to hear your idea because I know we got a banger.
All right, cool. So my idea kind of goes hand in hand with what we talked about a little bit earlier with workforce housing. So we have a nonprofit called Love Our City. We do a lot of stuff in the community, especially in Uptown Tampa. We're known for that. It's a movement that we help spread around the country to help other churches and organizations love their city, love their community, give back. So to have a place that's called Love Our City Village. And what it is it's going to help people that are lower to middle income service workers that need affordable housing. They're trying to get their foot in the game of ownership, and we're big on like ownership. We want to see people own a house, own something, own real estate. That creates generational wealth, right? But it's so hard to get in now because Tampa's gotten so expensive. Everybody's moved here during the pandemic, right? I mean, it was even happening before the pandemic, but the pandemic was just an accelerator, and there's so many more people. You came, you messed everything up, bro. So, but we're at this tipping point right now, and now like houses went up, inflation's went up in so many different ways, and now interest rates have went up to buy a house. So it's so much harder for somebody. But so the idea would be to buy a piece of property, and I got my eye on a piece of property. It's literally hundreds of feet away from where our church is located. It's about 3 acres of vacant land, and there's not much of that around left. If we could get that vacant land, and then we could put a village of shipping container tiny houses on that space. And I mean, we could probably put, I don't know, we didn't fully map it out, but maybe we could put 40, 50 houses on there. Some of them would just be one shipping container, tiny house that's, 12 by 40. Some of them might be a double. Some of them might be stacked, so there'd be 2 floors. You could do a lot of really creative stuff with shipping containers. The way you cut them and put cool windows and sliding doors and balconies and all kinds of stuff. And it's not that expensive. Those shipping containers, you can get them used for like $2,000 or $3,000. Might even be able to get some donated. But if we could build a village of those and to deck those out and make them really nice, it's not that much money. Especially if we get a lot of the construction labor donated, we get some of the materials donated to build out the insides. But we might be able to do a lot of those shipping containers for maybe 30 to 50 grand. So then you put the cost of the land into that. Somebody could probably buy a house possibly for around their own brand new house with a little piece of land on there for maybe like $100K, $80K, maybe even $120K on the higher end ones or whatever, the ones that are bigger. But imagine what a mortgage is on that, even at 7% interest on $100K. That's affordable housing right there. You're going to be paying less than $1,000 a month on a mortgage, and it's going towards building your equity. And even if they're not going to live there forever, like some people would, like if it's just a single person or a couple and empty nesters, whatever, or just, they might live there forever. It might be a great space for them. But even for maybe a young family, maybe they're going to live there for 4 or 5 years. It's a little tight, it's a tiny house vibe or whatever, but it's going to get their foot in the game. There's some equity, and then maybe in 5 years, then they can sell it. They can level up, and they could get a bigger house, but it's just to get people's foot in the game and give them an opportunity to have home ownership.
Got it. So affordable housing place. So in Tampa, there already exists a small tiny home village. I don't know if you know about it, but like it's starting to succeed.
Is it where they can buy it though?
I think they are. I think in there they can buy it. So that's important to you,
okay.
The buying, not the renting, but the buying.
Yeah, the buying is important. Okay. It really is. We got to give a pathway for people to become owners.
So I'm in between, and I'm going to tell you why, so you can hear out the thought process.
Sure.
Right. So I'm into something like this, and we'll go into it later.
Yeah,
personally.
and you're more versed in real estate than I am.
But if you put it near where you're talking about, first of all, you're connected to a lot of things, so you probably more than anybody would have more.
We're working on the zoning for that right now. It's available in Florida and other places, but not yet in Hillsborough County, as far as I know.
I was going to say,
but we're working on it.
That's the first huge hurdle, is just trying to make taking something and changing use to something smaller, because people see that again as gentrification. Yeah. Now, workforce rental is important, and the model of co-housing and that's a better model for people today, because my definition of affordable housing is not white picket fence, single family home. Yeah. It's what can you afford, be comfortable, safe, and clean. Some people, as you know, they might want something, but that's not what they need, because they can't be financially responsible for it. Now, if that village, let's pretend it's just like it becomes a rental village because of the zoning. You already have kind of multifamily zoning over there anyway, so
it's all multifamily.
If it becomes the way station for home ownership, in other words, you live there, you work locally, you get yourself on your feet, you get all kinds of things, probably government programs if you want to mess with that, because those always come with strings.
Yeah.
As a way station to what you're talking about, where it might, maybe you go a little bit outside Tampa limits or just down the street, whatever, somewhere where the
It
zoning
is actually
different.
outside of the city limits.
Oh, what
right
you're
across
talking
the
about?
street from us. Yep. We're on the south side of Fowler. That's city of Tampa. The north side of Fowler, once you pass about 100 feet, it's the county. So the land I'm talking about is actually in the county. Unincorporated, Hillsborough County.
Is this, what's that section they call over there? Not Seminole. Sulphur Springs kind of area?
Sulphur Springs is south of us. No.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But it's cash with a whole lot of strings.
Yeah.
And you just I think the strategy just needs to be a little bit modified in steps instead of just plant yourself down there, because all that's going to happen, because I've seen it happen already, is in Philly. They took a section that was close to like 11th and Spring Garden, close to downtown, and they were like, only people of a certain. The deal is you have to own this property for 10 years. You can't sell it, and then you can sell it after that. But that was the homeownership play.
Yeah.
But don't you know, everybody skirted around it because things started developing, and they got around it, and some of them still are there. But like they got the benefit of it, but then it got displaced by the same gentrification they were trying to kill.
I got you.
So that's what I'm trying
there
to
has
tell
to
you.
There has to be some
There
stuff
has to be a
written in
way
there
to stabilize it so
to
that,
protect it.
Yeah, to offset
Yeah.
the impending, because prices are going to go up, insurance is going to go up, everything's going to go up anyway. But to keep it from just like getting invaded and kind of overthrown by the intention, because 10 years from now the world has changed and maybe not the same players. Everybody wants to move. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way I would kind of like look at that and be like, this is the human tendency.
Yeah, you're
I've
right.
seen it before.
Yeah.
But I really dig the fact that that's a community connected the way you said, and it's a stair stepping, because workforce housing is important, especially where you picked, because the gentrification thing that is going to happen, whether we like it or not, is going to push people out, and we need people to stay there.
Yeah.
But saying we need them to stay there, but not making it affordable or at least amenable to them is not going to work. So again, well, I'll share that with you. So this is it's cash, but it's 50 cents. It's not a full dollar yet. It's not a full dollar yet. So thank you for that.
Definitely.
That was dope.
Yeah. Need some development.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what this is for. It's like, hey, beat these up, and then you get another angle, and it's like, Jason told me this. Here's how we solve for that, because now you have another.
Yeah, the other problem too
it.
is the land is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah.
When I first came up with the idea, maybe 5 years ago, this has been an idea I've had for a minute. The land was much cheaper. Now since the pandemic, because Trashmitter came down here and from Philly, now the land just doubled and tripled, bro.
We need to talk to the Seminole tribe and see where we could get hooked up. Maybe they'll be down for something like this.
Yeah.
Crossover
balling.
reservation.
They're
Let's
balling.
go. Let's go.
They're balling.
All right, we. How'd you feel about this? You like this?
Yeah.
This is fun, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of like what we do anyway, but now it's recorded, so it's even better.
Yep.
So now we don't forget. Last question. I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me ask you something. What's one unpopular or controversial opinion that you have? And it could be about anything. It could be church related or just you. Like something that people are like, conventional wisdom or says this, and you're like, no. Because you wrote the book Frames, so you should have some kind of insight on this. Like, anything come to mind?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we are scared to think critically because we're scared we can get canceled. And I think there's been a lot of that the last couple of years, because anybody that started thinking critically the last few years, especially during the pandemic, all the stuff that was getting pushed on us through media, social media, everything. And if you questioned anything, you could get canceled and you could get looked at like you're crazy. And so I think we got to be really careful that we are always questioning, and we're allowed to question everything. And that's the beauty of living in America. We have this free country. We could question things. And I'm a questioner. I like to question things. I like to think about things. I like to, talk about it. And I feel like the last couple of years, if you question certain things, you would get put into a box that was unfair, just to kind of keep you quiet and cancel you. And so I would just say to people like, man, we always need to be questioning everything. There needs to be absolute truths, absolutely, but we need to be able to have a culture where we can think critically. And some people don't think that way anymore. They just want to go with whatever they tell them to do. And I'm not doing that.
What's the last thing your mouth got you in trouble for?
Probably something with my wife.
Yeah, well, that's every day with everybody married. I'm talking about like because you said question everything,
because I try to be careful when I'm on a microphone in a public place. You know, I don't always 100% speak my mind because I realize some people are gonna take it out of context, or I realize that they're so brainwashed in a certain way that they can't receive what I'm saying. And there's other things that I can say spiritually to impact them that if I say this one thing, they're gonna close off to me, period. And so even during the pandemic, there's a lot of things I just kind of kept my mouth shut on the microphone because if I would have said some certain things, I could have been put in a certain category and canceled. You know what I'm saying? But first and foremost, as a pastor, I want to speak into people's lives spiritually, because I knew some of the things we were all going through. Now we're past all that, and it doesn't even matter anymore. People don't even care. But at the moment, they cared, and they would have died on a hill for it. Mm-hmm. But now it doesn't matter. The thing I'm going to die on the hill for is the gospel and trying to help people find Jesus, and that's what's going to change their life. So yeah, I can't say I have had anything that's really gotten me in trouble, because I've been doing this for a minute. So I try to keep the main thing of what I'm really going to fight for. So
and the only reason I ask that is because as you grow and gift, stature, community, it's a bigger and bigger landmine. Like there's just way more landmines out there, and I do like what you do now and navigate. But kind of like this is something we discussed a couple weeks ago. If you're not getting sued, are you really doing anything like in business as an entrepreneur? Like you should celebrate your first lawsuit, because it's like that means you're out there breaking stuff and moving fast and all that, and you just deal with it. It's just part of the business.
Yeah.
And especially now, if you're an influencer or running real influence, you could get canceled real quick, and that's sort of part of the biz. So I asked that because one day maybe somebody's going to hear this conversation knowing that just like Jesus had to walk that road, Tommy's probably going to get canceled for something stupid.
Yeah.
But at
happen.
least they know your heart before then, because
could happen.
You know, everybody in any position of power, they're looking to cancel you.
Yeah.
They're looking to wake
And the other
you
thing
up.
is like people can make stuff up and other people believe it.
Yeah.
And now with all the crazy AI stuff that we have going on, like they can make a fake video with my voice saying something, cussing somebody out, and it wasn't even really me. But people will hear it. Yeah. People will hear it and be like, "Oh, you heard Pastor Tommy? Oh man, oh yeah, I knew there was something fake about him." Like everybody's like waiting to just
I'm gonna AI you with Dallas Cowboys gear on and throw it up in church. Just see what kind of shade they throw. Then I got canceled.
That's easy. That's Photoshop. That's just Photoshop. You got to get my voice in there.
Yeah.
Saying the Eagles suck. See, you're gonna sample that right there.
Why not? It could be it could be my song. I'm gonna be Urban J now. I'm gonna be a professional hater. Come at you. We could battle. It'd just be like some wrestling thing where it's a fake beef. You know what I mean?
Speaking of wrestling, come on, man.
Let's hold on. So we're gonna okay. Before we do this arm wrestling, we're gonna end with that because it's probably gonna mess up the table. Because I'm here to win. Let people know how they can find you, the church, everything about you. Because you know, before I destroy you, I need you to be elevated.
Okay. Yeah, you can find me on IG, UrbanD813, URBAND 813. Crossover is Crossover Church 813. Or no, I'm sorry, Crossover 813. On Instagram, YouTube, crossoverchurch.org is Crossover's website. My website is translationleadership.com, translation with a Z, because you know how we do. Just mix it up a little bit, and
And I'm going to add Innovation Summit in Tampa. Pay attention to that. They run them like every 3 months, I want to say, or something like that.
No, Innovation Summit is once a year.
Okay.
It's like every spring. But then we do have Crossoverpreneurs that has stuff every couple months.
There you go. Crossoverpreneurs. And then there's the Dodgeball League. And then there's all these things. And Flavor Fest is definitely a good time, a good weekend, breakdancing. freestyles,
music festival,
all kinds of stuff like that. So
leadership training.
even if you forget anything else, start Googling that stuff and try to connect to that stuff. Because I'm telling you right now, even if you don't like church, you'll like that. In fact, it's probably one of their best outreach programs because people are like, "Yo, this church is like this. I want to check it out on a Sunday and see what it's like." So that real talk. That's how I got hooked. Somebody referred me to your church. I go to church and I get there and they're doing a video of Tampa Bay and it's you and that other dude and I'm like. And that's the pastor? Oh,
KJ5 too.
I'm in. There's a DJ on stage right now. I'm in. I'm woke up on a Sunday morning. It's the party's in here. It's lit in here. For me, if you care, Jason, a.k.a. the dad next door on all social, personal. And then there's Trash Mitter. Pretty easy to find. This podcast, wherever you find it, YouTube. And anything to do with Roscoe the Mouth. Yeah, you can find him.
The Mouth.
I'm relatively easy to find if you care. And I'm going to leave it like that. That's it. So... You want to take them out with any special catchphrase? I'm still working on mine, but like, what do you send people off on your podcast? Like, what's your ending?
Oh man, what do I say, man? We usually just pray at the end, honestly, and then we say peace and we out. Just so it's we don't have any fancy closing thing that we normally do.
All right, so this is how we're gonna So that's it for the Trash or Cash podcast. Let us pray. All right, so we're holding hands, and this is the end of the podcast. But if you stick around,
firefighter muscle
this is
right
flat.
there.
I haven't done this for a minute. All right, ready?
All right.
No cheating.
All right,
I trust you.
all
All right, we out, guys.
right, ready, go. Oh yeah.
Oh, I heard the crack. You need this arm?
He's got me.
Oh, look, he lifted the table. See, he did it. He wrong for that. I know, he did too. He took the whole table. All right.
We're still going, baby. Come on.
All right. It's a draw. We both we both messed up.
We tapped out.
I'm sorry episode like that.
Oh my God.
That was good, bro.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trash Mitter. That's TrashMitter. And keep up with all episodes at trashorcashpodcast.com.